Well, with the average cost of a new vehicle now about $65,000, if you're buying one, you want to make sure it's built to last.
Dealers are sitting on brand new SUVs they simply cannot sell. We're talking about inventory piling up for over a year, massive price cuts that aren't working, and a market flashing warning signs that are impossible to ignore. According to the latest inventory data, the industry average for a healthy supply of cars is about 60 days. If a car sits for 60 days, that's normal. But the SUVs on this list, we are looking at 200, 250, even 370 days of supply. That is not just a backlog, that is a financial disaster for dealers and a potential money pit for you. When dealers get desperate, they start throwing discounts around. But you have to ask yourself, why does nobody want these cars? Is it reliability? Is it the price? Or is the brand itself falling apart? Today, we are exposing the SUVs that are rotting on dealer lots right now, explaining exactly why buyers are running away and helping you avoid a five-figure mistake. Number 5. The Volkswagen Taos. Moving into the mainstream compact segment, we have a vehicle that looks like a bargain on paper, but turns into a trap the moment you look closer. Inventory for the Taos is piling up, pushing past 200 days supply in many regions. VW pitched this as the people's SUV, a cheaper, smaller alternative to the Tiguan, but there is a reason buyers are walking right past it and heading straight to the Toyota or Subaru dealership. The hook here is the budget trap. It lures you in with a starting price that looks attractive, somewhere in the high 20,000s, but the execution, that's where it falls apart. The biggest issue is the reputation lag. The 2022 launch models were an absolute nightmare. We're talking about head gasket failures that required engine repairs almost immediately. Then there were recalls for fuel delivery modules that could cause the car to just shut off while driving. Even though VW claims to have fixed these issues for 2024 and 2025, the internet never forgets. Buyers do a quick Google search, see head gasket failure, and they run. Then you get inside. This is where the value proposition really crumbles. At $30,000 to $34,000 for a mid-trim model, you are competing with the Mazda CX-30 and the Honda HR-V. Those cars feel premium. The Taos, it feels like a rental car. The dashboard is hard plastic, the door panels feel hollow, and the whole interior screams cost-cutting. When you're spending $35,000, you don't want to feel like you're in an economy car from 2010. The driving experience drives the final nail in the coffin. The all-wheel drive models use a dual-clutch transmission, or DCT. In a Porsche, a DCT is amazing. In a budget VW SUV, it is jerky, laggy, and frustrating. There's a terrifying moment of hesitation when you step on the gas from a stop sign before the car actually moves. It feels unsafe when you're trying to pull into busy traffic. Average drivers hate that feeling. They test drive a Toyota Corolla Cross and it just goes. They test drive the Taos and it hesitates. That is why dealers are sitting on thousands of these units with no end in sight. Number 4. The Land Rover Discovery. This next one is a tragedy of identity. The Land Rover Discovery is sitting on lots for over 220 days. This is the forgotten child of the Land Rover lineup. You might be wondering, wait, don't people love Land Rovers? They love Range Rovers and they love the new Defender. And that is exactly the problem. The Discovery is suffering from severe cannibalization. Walk onto a Land Rover lot right now. On one side, you have the Defender. It looks cool, it's boxy, it's rugged, and it holds its value incredibly well. On the other side, you have the Discovery. It's rounded, it looks a bit like a minivan from the back, and it has that controversial offset license plate design that drives people crazy. Here's the kicking. They cost roughly the same amount of money. If you have $75,000 to spend, are you going to buy the cool, rugged Defender that makes you look like an adventurer, or are you going to buy the Discovery that looks like an expensive soccer mom mobile? 99% of buyers choose the Defender. The Discovery has no reason to exist at its current price point. Beyond the styling, there's the terrifying reality of owning an out-of-warranty Land Rover. The Discovery is packed with complex air suspension systems and heavy electronics. Used car buyers know this. They know that once that factory warranty runs out, a suspension failure is a $4,000 repair. This crushes the resale value. When you buy a Discovery, you are signing up for massive depreciation because nobody wants to buy it from you 3 years later. It's stuck in the middle. It's not prestigious enough to be a full Range Rover, and it's not tough enough to be a Defender. It's an $80,000 vehicle with an identity crisis, and dealers are paying the price. Number 3, the Lincoln Aviator. This one hurts because it had so much potential. The Lincoln Aviator is currently facing a market supply hovering around the 215-day mark. This is the American heartbreak. When the Aviator launched, it was stunning. It looks great, the interior is plush, and it has serious power. But the execution has been a disaster, and the market has lost trust. The problem started back in 2020. The launch of this vehicle was a quality control nightmare. We're talking about body panels that didn't line up, software that crashed constantly, and sunroofs that leaked. Lincoln spent years trying to fix those initial bugs, and while the 2025 and 2026 models are much better, the reputation damage is done. Consumer Reports consistently rates it average to low. When you're asking people to spend luxury money, you must provide luxury reliability. And that brings us to the price ceiling. A loaded Lincoln Aviator Black Label can easily hit $90,000. That is an insane amount of money. At that price point, you aren't just competing with Cadillac, you're in BMW X5 and Mercedes GLE territory. Ask yourself honestly, if you have $90,000 to drop on a luxury SUV, are you buying the Lincoln with the better badge, the better driving dynamics, and the better resale value? Most people choose the German rivals. The badge snobbery is real, and Lincoln hasn't quite earned the right to charge $90,000 yet. Then there's the plug-in hybrid model, the Grand Touring. These are the hardest to sell. They're incredibly complex, very heavy, and have specific recalls related to the battery and powertrain. The sensible luxury buyer takes one look at the repair potential of the Aviator PHEV and runs the other way. Dealers love the Navigator, but the Aviator is sitting in a dead zone that is clogging up lots across the country. Number 2, the Maserati Grecale. Now we enter the world of 6-figure disappointments. The Maserati Grecale. Dealers are drowning in these, with some reports showing inventory sitting for over 250 days. This car was supposed to save Maserati. It was supposed to be their version of the Porsche Macan, a high-volume SUV that prints money. Instead, it has become an $80,000 paperweight. The hook here is simple. Buyers aren't stupid. Underneath the curvy Italian sheet metal, the Grecale shares a massive amount of its DNA with the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Now, the Stelvio is a fun car, but it's a $50,000 car. Maserati is trying to charge $80,000, even $100,000 for the Trofeo version. Buyers are looking at it and asking, why am I paying a $25,000 premium just for a Trident badge? But the real killer is the depreciation cliff. Everyone knows the joke about Maseratis losing value, but with the Grecale, it is a financial horror story. These cars are famous for losing 50% of their first 3 years. Smart money never buys a new Maserati, they lease it. But because the residual values are so low, the lease payments are astronomical. You end up paying $1,400 a month for a small SUV. And then there's the Porsche Macan. The Macan exists. It is literally the benchmark for this entire segment. It costs about the same as the Grecale, but it drives better, it's built like a tank, and the resale value is rock solid. If you park a Macan in your driveway, your neighbors think you made a smart choice. If you park a Grecale, they wonder if you like burning money. We're seeing lot rot on these. That's a real industry term. When a car with high-end electronics sits for 250 days without moving, batteries die and seals start to dry out. Buying a new Grecale that has been sitting on a lot for a year is a risky move, even if the dealer knocks $10,000 off the price. Number 1, the Jaguar F-Pace. And here is the undisputed king of unwanted inventory. The Jaguar F-Pace, we are seeing market supply numbers that are absolutely shocking. 370 days. That's over a full year. There are brand new 2024 models sitting there while 2026 models are already arriving. It's the zombie car. The F-Pace is a beautiful car. It drives well, it sounds good. So why is it unsellable? It all comes down to the reimagine strategy. Jaguar has publicly announced that they are killing off their entire gas-powered lineup to reinvent the brand as an ultra-luxury electric manufacturer. They're moving upmarket to compete with Bentley, and they're leaving the current lineup behind. Buying a new fee-pace right now feels like buying a ticket on the Titanic after it already hit the iceberg. Consumers are terrified of the orphan owner syndrome. If Jaguar pivots entirely to EVs, where are you going to get your gas fee-pace serviced in 5 years? Will the parts be available? Will the mechanics even know how to work on them? The dealer network collapse is real. Jaguar dealerships are closing or merging at a rapid rate. Buyers want security. They want to know that the brand will be there for them. Jaguar has basically told the market, "We're done with these cars." So the market said, "Okay, we're done buying them." On top of the existential crisis, the car itself is showing its age. The interior technology feels a generation behind the screens everywhere tech you get in a Mercedes or a BMW. And just like the Maserati, the depreciation is catastrophic. You drive a fee-pace off the lot, and you might as well light $30,000 on fire. It is financially dangerous to own this car. Dealers know it, buyers know it, and that is why the fee-pace is sitting there, gathering dust, waiting for a buyer that isn't coming. Bonus, the Dodge Hornet. We have to kick this off with one of the most confused vehicles on the market today. The Dodge Hornet is currently sitting with a staggering supply of over 260 days. In fact, as of early 2026, Dodge has actually postponed production because they simply cannot move the ones they have. The Hornet was supposed to be Dodge's big entry into the small SUV game. They promised muscle car attitude, but the market isn't buying it. The problem? It isn't a Dodge, it's an Alfa Romeo Tonale in a Halloween costume. Dodge took an Italian crossover, slapped some hood vents on it, and tried to sell it to people who love Chargers and Challengers. The disconnect is massive. The average Dodge buyer wants a V8 engine, not a turbocharged 4-cylinder based on a front-wheel drive European platform. Then you look at the price. Dealers are asking over $40,000 for these things. For a compact Dodge, that is serious money. You can get a fully loaded Mazda CX-50 or a Honda CR-V hybrid for that kind of cash. Reliability is the other massive red flag. Since this is effectively an Alfa Romeo underneath, it comes with Alfa Romeo complications, but without the luxury badge prestige. Early reviews have pointed out glitches in the infotainment and build quality that just doesn't match the price tag. You will see rows of Hornets gathering dust, and even with aggressive incentives, they aren't moving. It's a classic case of a manufacturer building a car that nobody asked for at a price nobody wants to pay. So there it is. From confused muscle crossovers to abandoned luxury flagships, these vehicles are clogging up the system for a reason. Dealers are going to try to tempt you. They are going to dangle 0% financing, massive cash rebates, and sweet lease deals to get these metal anchors off their lots. But you have to look beyond the monthly payment. A cheap payment on a car that spends half its life in the shop or loses 60% of its value in 3 years is not a deal. It's a trap. In this market, with prices this high, you cannot afford to buy a loser. You need stability, reliability, and value retention. None of the SUVs on this list offer that. If you found this breakdown helpful and want to avoid making a financial mistake at the dealership, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We are tracking the market every single day to make sure you stay ahead of the curve. And let me know in the comments, would you take a chance on a Jaguar F-Pace if the price was cut in half? Or is it still too risky? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.